Well, I pulled it off, everybody. I made All-Star as Tank, and mainly just as Reinhardt. I am very proud of that. I didn't play whoever was meta. I didn't care who was meta. I played my character, and I was able to pull it off. Not entirely by myself. I have been playing with other people. There have been some other streamers and such that I have been playing with, collaborating with. You've actually seen me give a couple of shout-outs to them in a couple of different videos. I actually helped another streamer, Eggs Benna, reach All-Star on support on her stream the other day. I'm going to try and see if I can help out Mur, the other streamer that they play together a lot. They basically call each other their wives and such. But they basically love streaming together, and they're both Mercy players, support mains. Like Eggs plays Juno in Stadium while Mur plays Mercy, or I think maybe sometimes they go back and forth. But like even in quick play, they kind of like swapped where Eggs could be able to play Mercy after we helped her get All-Star so she could have both her Juno and Mercy skins, which I have as well, obviously, because I reached All-Star. Again, you don't have to reach All-Star on support. Just reach All-Star on any role. And honestly, I'm actually looking to reach All-Star on damage as well. And that's part of the point of this video, because I believe I can do so with a specific build from Soldier. And I actually wanted to make a video about this because I think this is not only a really strong build, but it's actually a very flexible build. It's not a build that necessarily has a lot of stuff that's mandatory. It's basically a build that allows you to just grab what you want based on the situation, based on what you're facing, what you're going up against. And that's what I want to talk about, but I just wanted to take a moment to show this off, that I reached All-Star as Tank, and I'm very proud of that. I don't know if I'll do it as support. Support is a weird one because, of course, as you can see, queue times are very long for support. It's part of the complaint a lot of people have about Stadium is how long the queue times are, which is, but as you can see, queue times for tank and DPS are super short. I don't know what exactly the data is. Why, I would love to ask the dev team to explain why that's happening, how that works. But regardless, I think the other thing I'm wanting to say about this is that, in my opinion, and I was testing out different builds for this.
Chat may be recorded to investigate and verify.
So there's the Mercy skin right there, as you can see. The All-Star skin in all of its wonderful glory. Mainly green and orange, along with some white. Although I would love for that to be like a bit silver. And then here is the Juno one, as you can see. They both look really great. If I do try... So, I did get a couple of great skins in my vault this week. One of which was the Imperious skin for Reinhardt. I don't think it's equipped at the moment. No, my Mythic skin is. But I also got this! The Lilith skin for Moira. So, since Moira's my main support, I may try and get to All-Star with her, but honestly, I think I'm actually more so gravitating towards Juno. Or not Juno. Derp. I was just talking about Juno, so... but Kiriko. Mainly because of the build that I've come to really like, which is her ability power build focused on Suzu and Kitsune. I think it's actually really strong. It also empowers your Swift Step, not for the whole teleporting wherever you want, but the extra healing. And I may make a separate video just on that. But this video is mainly going to be about Soldier 76 and the Visor build. That's what I'm calling it anyway. So there's 3 builds that I've come to kind of use when it comes to Soldier. One is a very funny build called the Biotic Field build, where you basically have the Biotic Field with you all the time. You can be able to make it bigger, you can make it last longer, you can be able to have it empower your allies even more, and you can have it do damage if people get too close to you. I've actually gotten kills with this. It's actually pretty funny. I'm chasing them down, sprinting after them with a field up, and they can't outrun me, and if they're low health, they get killed. It's actually really funny. The other build, or the second build, is the Rocket build, and while this can be good for, like, possibly one-shotting people, I personally have come to not like it as much because I don't like having to rely on the cooldown to come off in order to use it every time. So what I ended up liking more so was this one, the Visor build, because basically you're able, and this is kind of like if you want to grab this code, there it is. Basically, you grab Supervisor in the first round so that you can be able to get that little half second of Visor, which may not sound like a lot, but you'd be surprised how much damage you can get off in that half a second of Visor when you do that after launching your rocket. Like, I like to just basically focus on the weapon category here. Early round, I usually just grab stuff. Basically, just focusing on weapon power and attack speed. And if you want to get some lifesteal, that's fine. But mainly, weapon power and attack speed is the main thing here. The other thing that you can also work on is ammo as well. But the thing is, what I want to talk about is, you'd be surprised how good this can get depending on what you're facing. When you get to round 3, this is where the build can really start to get going here, because then you get Peripheral Pulse, which has Pulse Rifles, Visor, attack an additional enemy. So you're attacking at least 2 enemies at once. Now, it does deal less damage, 50% less damage, but when you get to the late game, that's honestly not going to matter. It really isn't. If you get to round 5, Chain Gun is just going to up your weapon power even more. And then if you want to do some stuff in regards to your ammo, you can go ahead and grab Man on the Run as well to be able to have it increase your maximum ammo, especially for an initial fight, or especially if you're sprinting back to a fight that's going on from the spawn room. But the thing that really can make this build really strong is depending on what you're facing. This is a fantastic build against flyers. And it's mainly because of this weapon, this item right here, Aerial Distressor. You get some shields for survivability, but you also get attack speed. But then here's the other thing. Weapon damage to airborne enemies deals 25% bonus damage over 3 seconds. Now, I want to clarify, this is not specifically for someone who's flying. This is specifically for someone who is considered in the air. What I mean is, if let's say a Junkrat is jumping around on his mines, this will count. That will count as an airborne enemy. So if he's like jumping off of his mine or jumping down from a cliff and you hit him with your weapon while he's in the air, that extra damage will start doing that, and it will start ticking off. Commander's Clip is a good option to be able to increase the amount of ammo you have. Eye of the Spider is, of course, fantastic, getting 25% weapon power and dealing more damage to those who are below 30% life. This is a great item to pick up if you're wanting to help deal with the tanks. Volskaya Ordnance, dealing more damage to an enemy that has 100, every 100 maximum life that it has more than you, up to 20%. If you are facing a armor-heavy team, you can grab Codebreaker to give yourself more weapon power and ignore 50% of the armor's damage reduction. If you're facing barriers, like against a Reinhardt or a Sigma, you can grab Salvage Slugs. I think Zarya's barriers, her bubbles, also count as barriers. So you can also grab this against Zarya as well, where it's also going to be able to have a chance to give you some more ammo back when you're firing. Weapon Jammer is also good because it not only gives you armor, but it also gives you weapon power, and it can increase your attack speed and decrease your opponent's attack speed. You see what I mean about the flexibility of this build here? A lot of these are going to be dependent on what you're facing. So if I'm facing a Reinhardt with a Juno and a Mercy, you can be able to, let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you off some of it here if you want. So I can be able to grab this, and let's see. We can grab Eye of the Spider if we're generating enough cash, which by the end of the game, you're probably going to have a ton of cash in the later rounds. If you want to help melt the Rhine even more, grab the Volskaya Ordnance, and then you can be able to make people attack slower, or you can just grab more ammo. So you can give yourself more weapon power and some armor if you feel like you need to have a bit more survivability, or you can give yourself more attack speed with more ammo. So with Man Run, look at my clip, my magazine down there. I see 45, 48, 51. You just keep sprinting, and if you grab the commander's clip where you give more ammo, see, now I've got double the amount of ammo I would normally have. So it's always a little tricky to do here because of like the way it's all set up here.
I've got you in my sights.
Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Did you see that? And yeah, that was a half a second of a visor, and yet it didn't really matter, did it? The other thing that's good also about grabbing the commander's clip here is that when you use an ability, you actually restore some of your maximum ammo. So let's say you are in the middle of firing and then you fire it off. That should count towards helping get you some ammo back. Let's test that one more time. Yep, see? So you got some ammo back. Because I will say one of the only times I actually have issues with this build is when when I actually run out of ammo and I'm forced to reload. As far as I can tell, there is no item here that allows Soldier to reduce his reload time. Which is funny because I think Cassidy actually has one of those. But another flexible item you could get here, I would say could also be the Closer, because more weapon power, right? So if you really want to work on your weapon power, you can grab that, and then you can grab this, and all of a sudden, you are hitting so hard because you've got 70% weapon power here now.
Multiple casualties.
So honestly, I really do feel like I can actually hit All-Star as a DPS just with this build. Normally, I would say that you shouldn't go for just one single build for every single game. Like, not every, like, a build probably shouldn't be able to be used in every game no matter what the situation. But honestly, this build kind of is just because of how flexible it is in terms of the amount of things that I don't consider mandatory. The only things I would consider that are mandatory for this build are Supervisor and Peripheral Pulse. That's it. I highly recommend Chain Gun, but I don't think it's mandatory. It's really good, because it's going to give you even more weapon power as it stacks. And in fact, if you do up your ammo, let's say you go ahead and grab Commander's Clip, and let's say Stockpile. So now you sprint around, you up your magazine clip here. 99. So now let's also go ahead and change it. Let's change this to, say, an Orisa.
That warms the bones. Enemies in disarray. Enforcing the...
You see that portion where I had to reload there? Yeah, that's the only issue that you could probably run into. Is you gotta make sure that you're not chasing down someone who's low health, and then all of a sudden you have that moment where you're having to do this. And then they get away because you had to reload. That's a very frustrating moment. So that's something that, if you're going to try this, I would highly recommend trying to keep track of your ammo and make it where you're not in a position where you're going to have to do that. So if you want to see some of this in action, let me pull up a replay of a game that I had last night, and y'all, I was doing so well. Like, I only did 7k damage in this round, and I was 12-2. I had a round. I don't think it's here anymore. I'm telling y'all, I had a round that was so good. I had 18k damage in a single round of Stadium. Not a just that's not something that happens very often. I think it was it this one? I think it was. No, that's when I was playing Mora with a friend. With Nico, you've seen me endorse her stream on a separate video. There was a game I had. I think it might be gone. Was it this one? I don't think it was. No, it wasn't this one. I'm pretty sure it was a 7-round game that we ended up unfortunately losing just because things didn't work out for our team. But after the round, someone on my team complimented me. They're like, "Holy mackerel, soldier! I am so impressed. That was really good." Yeah, I think that unfortunately that replay is gone. But you can have an idea. Let me go ahead and show you guys so you can have an idea as to what this build can be when you get into later rounds. So because we were facing against a Diva, a Juno, I made sure to go ahead and grab... Whoops. To, of course, go ahead and grab the Aerial Distressor. I had the most... Well, actually, not the most. Our Mercy had the most cash in our game, but I was close. But at this point, I had these. I had Eye of the Spider. I had grabbed Bull Sky Ordnance to try and help deal with the Diva anymore, and as well as Codebreaker. And I was kind of debating. I was like, do I want to get the extra weapon power, or do I want to have this other really good item here, which is if you deal damage to either armor or shields, you gain more attack speed for a second. Which, if you're just constantly hitting their shields or armor, that's some pretty good attack speed. So yeah, 45% weapon power at this point, 25% attack speed, and of course, if I had more cash, I'd be able to get some other really good stuff here. So let's jump ahead a bit. And let me show you my perspective here. Our Rhine was nice enough to give me a BAP window shield for this, because he probably recognized at this point that I was doing a lot of damage.
Stay out of my way.
I have a tendency to also reload a lot. I also do not have the best aim. This is one of the reasons why I play the Visor build. Although I did hit that Diva in mid-air with the rocket. I was pretty proud of that shot.
Stand behind me, friend.
I also like it when I'm doing so well in Soldier that the Mercy recognizes that I'm doing well and it's like, I'm going to pocket that Soldier. So I'm not only getting damage boosted by the Mercy, but I'm also getting a BAP window from the Reinhardt. So they were just really enabling me. I could tell, like, okay, they're flanking here. Watch the Juno die here around the corner because of that aerial distress damage I did.
I've got you in my sights.
I was essentially solo ulting that Ashe, but I kind of didn't care because that Ashe had been really kind of getting to me in this game. Just like, she sniped me good a couple times, and I was just like, okay, Ashe, I'm gonna get you.
Come and face me.
So look, the Juno's on the top left there, you see that? This Juno keeps trying to be basically a DPS Juno, not healing, you notice that? This is a Juno that is constantly trying to just DPS rather than heal her team. And I keep making her pay for it because I don't think she understood or realized, why is a beach ball there? I'm actually a little curious. Why was a beach ball there? I didn't even notice that there. Did you see that? There was a beach ball over there. Oh, it's because... You know why? It's because Cass is using the lifeguard skin, because he said it's high tide. So it's not just a tumbleweed, it's a beach ball. That's funny, I never noticed that before. So yeah, the Moira got me that time.
They'll regret that.
I think it was around this point, or maybe it's coming up, I get this Juno so tilted that in chat, she said, she was like, LOL, please nerf the effing soldier. I think it was after that, even though I actually didn't get the kill, it was the Moira. But I am doing so much damage to the Juno because she's up in the air because of that item, that she just got so tilted by that point. That's another reason I was, that dynamite was doing a lot of damage. Now, yes, the Cass got me, because he was on the flank over here. And of course the Mercy just is wonderful at helping me. But right there. I finished off the Juno there.
Refreshment.
You're doing so much damage to airborne enemies. If you are facing... I'm sorry to all the Mercy players out there, and I'm including my friends Eggsben and Mariner out there, because I know you're Mercy players, as well as my friend It's Rainy. All my Mercy friends out there, I am sorry, but this is a really strong build against Mercy players. So, if you are a soldier, and you see that they have flyers on their team, like a Mercy, a Juno, or Freya... Remember, this is also good against Freya. Play the Visor build. Don't go with the rocket build. I know the whole one-shot thing is, like, cool to see. But, dude, I'm telling you, you become a freaking minigun in this game if you go with this build. A couple of other replays I kept here. I'm trying to remember what these were from. I'll take a look at those and figure those out, but I don't think there's another good round here I can show off to you guys that has to do with me playing Soldier. Because I think that was like the Moira game I played. Whoops. Alright, this is another Soldier game, but I don't remember. Let me check the reports here. Because I'm trying to remember how I did on some of these. Alright, 10-2, not too bad. 5k damage. 11-1. Basically, like, this is one of those builds, it's going to start slow. So if you don't do that well in the first couple rounds, it's fine. Once you get to round 3 and you get the extra pulse and you are able to have enough cash to get some of the other purple items, trust me, this is when your build comes online and you are going to start melting people. Absolutely melting them. I'm telling y'all. Oh, this is the one right here. Okay. This is the one where I went 15-1 and it was 18k. Okay, which one? Okay, was it down here, really? Yeah, it was. Okay, is it? Okay, let me see here. Alright. So here's the one I want to show you guys off here. I want to show this off to you guys. The round thing, yeah, this is where I forced a round 7. Y'all, if you want to see how good this build can be, this is the round I want to really show you guys here. So at this point, I had plenty of cash that I could be able to have my 3 go-tos here. I have the Spider, Weapon Jammer, Volskaya Ordnance, Aero Distressor, Salvage Slugs, and I gave myself a bit of weapons lifesteal. In this game, we were going up against a Zarya with a Junkrat that, oh my goodness, this Junkrat was so annoying. And of course, both a Mercy and a Juno, and a Reaper, and oh man. This was a very annoying team to play against. They were... There's a reason we actually ended up losing this in 7 rounds. But the whole reason this even got to a 7th round is because of me. I'm the one who forced this. And trust me, by the end of the round, when you saw it was 18k damage in a single round. I didn't say in the chat or anything that I carried this team to a 7th round, but I basically did.
3, 2, 1.
Here's from my perspective. I was wearing the tall geese skin for this particular game. This mobile suit can defeat any enemy.
A taste of poison.
The objective goes.
Didn't have a Mercy boosting me, but I did have a BAP window Rhine.
The objectives are mine. Bionic healing ready for you.
There are times I am deliberately waiting for my rocket to come off cooldown before I start firing off, just to get that extra visor damage. And I could tell the Reaper was really trying to get me. I'm just like, nope, I just gotta run around and survive and keep myself alive to help my job, I considered it my job at this point to deal with the flying healers, to deal with the Mercy, to deal with the Juno, to try to help against this Reaper. And if I can help with the Zarya too, that'd be great, but you can see the Reaper is constantly in our face. I already have 3,000 damage at this point, and I've got my ult here, thinking, okay, can we force this? If the Rein goes in, I'm gonna ult here.
I've got you in my sights.
And of course, I get tired by the Junkrat, because I felt at this point that the Junkrat was deliberately saving his ult for me. Which I will take as a compliment. So yeah, they kill our entire team here and win the first point.
I rub some dirt on it.
If the Junkrat's gonna save his ult just for me, I'm gonna take that as a compliment, that he considers me the biggest threat on the team and feels like he needs to ult me. Now, he didn't just solo ult me, obviously, but still. I was like, we're getting flanked over there, guys. Pay attention. So even like one shot landing on an airborne Juno and Mercy is gonna do that extra ticking damage on them. You can actually hear the ticking damage. Now, if you can land your rocket, that'd be great extra damage, but that's not the point. Like, landing the rocket is like icing on the cake. The real point isn't necessarily to land the rocket. The point is to get your Visor up and running so you can get that extra Visor damage. So I'm at 9k damage already, and basically I helped save that round at that point, which we had to because otherwise the game was over. You know, and at that point I'm wondering if the Mercy and Juno are like, what is this, all this extra damage I'm taking? Where is it coming from? Of course, our Lucio had the big barriers, so I was like, okay, we had the big barriers there. Let's do this. I was like, okay, I've got Visor. Let's see if I can do it from the flank here. Get the health pack over here. Get the full health.
I've got you in my sights. I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
They're moving around so much, I'm having to constantly reload. I'm like, ah! I'm wanting to focus on the Mercy, but the Reaper is constantly in my face. About to have another Visor.
I've got you in my sights.
So yeah, 15-1, 18,000 damage.
You can't stop me. I'm on fire.
I had 71k at the end of that round. After that round, our Moira said in chat, "Soldier, I am very impressed." And I was like, look, the Visor is really doing all the work, but at the same time, the items that I had put into that is what helped make it so strong as well. Because the Visor itself is not going to do much unless you really up its capabilities with those items. So, I hope you can see what I'm talking about how strong this build is at this moment. Keep in mind, this build could get nerfed at some point. I don't know when, but at some point they may nerf it if it emerges really strong. But for the time being, I think I can hit All-Star with this build. Just this build alone. Even if they have other counters, like a Genji is obviously going to make it really annoying, but you can still try to play around his deflect. He may get you, killed at some point here and there. At that point, what I would also recommend is that rather than getting man on the run, what you could also do instead is either try to give yourself a bit more survivability with either on me, where it stays on you and gives you a bit more health, or you could go with back off and just try to stay in there and just make it where it's going to do damage to him. But if you don't go with ability power, it's actually not going to do that much damage. This build only becomes really strong if you focus on upping your ability power. So, yeah. But honestly, I think that if you just learn how to play around certain things, it's that mental game against other players, trying to keep track of their cooldowns and such, trying to figure out whether or not his deflect is on cooldown, seeing whether or not he actually takes powers to empower his deflect, which he can, which if he feels like he has to take powers to empower his deflect because of you, then you are having an effect on his game. You are causing him to make powers he probably take powers that he would probably not normally take because of how much you are impacting the game, or how much of a threat he sees you because of how well you're doing. So I'm telling you guys, Visor rifle build for Soldier, really good. If you want to try and climb in as DPS in Stadium, highly recommend this build. Very flexible in terms of the items that you can grab to empower it, to make it stronger, to give yourself a good amount of weapon power and attack speed, and all of a sudden you become this minigun that just melts the enemy team. Especially if you also have teammates empowering you, like a Reinhardt with a BAP window, or Mercy damage boosting you. Mercy players out there, if you see a soldier running this build, pocket him. I'm telling you, damage boost him and he is going to annihilate the enemy team. So, anyways, that's my video on the Visor rifle build for Soldier. I may do videos on some other builds. I may do a video on a build I don't see many people talking about, the Ability Power Suzu Kitsune build I have here for Kiriko, which I really, really like. I think I've already made a video about this build, the Death Blossom Ability Power build for Reaper. Believe it or not, I've actually won a few games as running this build. Now, keep in mind, that was without serious counters like a Genji, but I did win a game against an Orisa. But if you guys want me to do a video on that, let me know in the comments, and I will do so. Also,
Cobra.
I had to get it, because Cobra, retreat! Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.